Hello everyone. In this video, we are again exploring Midjourney's latest 8.1 model. This time, we are doing one of my favourite kinds of tests to do with it. That is, to use very obscure and rarely used words as prompts and see what we get. I've done this kind of thing before with the older models, and I have been amazed by the results. It's also a very good way to get a sense of what the default model will do, and what are the recurring themes and colour schemes and overall behaviour. I might have used some of these words before in my older explorations, but as it's a new model, it doesn't hurt to run some of the same ones again. As usual, I have used the aspect ratio 9:16. The seed number is set to 777, and all the other parameters are set to their default values. So no stylization or personalization has been applied, just the base model and its capabilities. I ran the test with 100 obscure words and selected 50 of my favourites for this video. If you want to see the other 50, I have them available in a prompt PDF format over on my Patreon. So a big shout out to all of my supporting members who help keep the lights on for this channel. Other than that, let's check out the prompts and what happens. Aureate, gilded or golden. Very cool golden effect with so much detail. I like the weird looking stuff. Coruscation, a sudden flash of light. Some environments and monumental architecture could be Star Wars themed a bit. Effulgent, radiating, striking light. This looks to be the default aesthetic of 8.1. Fulvous, dull yellow or tawny. Some different colours and animal themes. Gamboge, a deep saffron-like yellow. Very yellow for some reason. There seems to be a tendency towards character design. Glaucous, dull blue-grey or sea-green. Some greyish coloration and seagulls. Goniochromism, colour that shifts with the angle of view. Anything reminiscent of chromatics seems to add more colours. Heliacal, relating to the sun. 8.1 seems to like horns and circles and a lot of small detail. Luculent, bright, clear or shining. Interesting blending of people with plants. Nacreous, mother of pearl texture. Love the opalescent effect on these images. Opalescent, displaying milky iridescence. The actual opalescent is similar, but not as good with this seed. Phosphene, the stars you see when you rub your eyes. These look amazing, wonderfully weird and unique. Scintillation, rapid flashes of light. I like the particle effect for these. Vitreous, having the glassy look of polished obsidian. There is some wonderful weirdness going on in these images, a bit stronger colours. Xanthic, of or relating to the colour yellow. Yet again very yellow, kind of reminiscent of one of the words we already saw. Antumbra, the area beyond the tip of the shadow. Very cool eclipse effects, but again, horns and circles and lots of detail. Catenary, the curve formed by a hanging chain. I chose this one because it looked different from the rest. Maybe not as interesting though. Chthonic, relating to the underworld or deep earth. Horns, Asian culture and weird fashion. Cryostasis, suspended animation through freezing. Very cold colours, but understandably why. 8.1 seems to like skulls too. I've been seeing that in many of the ones I didn't select for this video. Flocculent, woolly or tufted like clouds. Love the broccoli effect for the fashion design. Wonderfully weird and flowy. Gelid, extremely cold or icy. Some character design from any fantasy-themed game or movie. Geodesic, geometry based on shortest paths between points. Maybe not as interesting, but cool shapes and looked different. Hydrometeor, any water product in the atmosphere. Some space themes here. Keratinous, relating to horn or hair textures. Looking at the prompt, I get the hair, horn and growth theme. Looks cool. Lithospheric, relating to the crust of a planet. Visuals are maybe, again, not too impressive, but this looked different from anything else. Miasma, a thick, oppressive atmosphere. Some plague doctor theme going on here. Myrmecophilus, associated with ants. And some weird-looking fantasy bugs. Sinuosity, the quality of being curvy or winding. I liked the flowy shapes of this one, noticing the colours tend to be quite muted. Abyssopelagic, the deep, dark layers of the ocean. Some aquatic and abyssal themes with this one. Love the detail. Bioluminescence, light emitted by living organisms. How can we not test out bioluminescence? It always looks so cool with every model. Decoherence, the loss of quantum state. Some very conceptual imagery here. Enthalpy, the heat content of a system. Interesting effects with this one. Seems to have more fiery coloration and shapes. Entropic, relating to the decline into disorder. Kind of similar to many other I've seen, so this seems to represent the default look. Heliotropic, turning toward the sun. Some old-looking art style theme going on with this one, more lines and tiny details. Ionization, the process of becoming electrically charged. Kind of space-themed and partly not. Interesting looks here. Magnetosphere, the magnetic field around a celestial body. This is definitely space-themed. Nepenthe, a drug that banishes sorrow or grief. And some nature or elf themes with this one. 8.1 seems to like fantasy a lot. Noetic, relating to the intellect or intuition. Again, horns and circles with very alien-looking fashion. Syzygy, the alignment of 3 celestial bodies. These look interesting. There's been a lot of weird-looking busts or sculptures. Bedizened, dressed up gaudily. Very cool-looking, old-fashioned, very detailed fashion. Boreal, of the north or northern wind. Finally, some forests too. I'm noticing the lack of photorealism so far. Eldritch, eerie, ghostly, or unnatural. This is obviously very fantasy-themed, but the prompt calls for it. Jadune, naive, simplistic, or dry. Some more fantasy and fashion from bygone eras. Knell, the sound of a bell, especially for a funeral. Weird creatures with strange clothes and horns, and muted colours. Liminal, occupying a position at a boundary or threshold. Again, some architecture. I guess the prompts are all pretty weird themselves already. Limerence, the state of being infatuated with someone. We do go a bit literal here with the colour and the limes, but there's some very clear-looking text here. Redolent, strongly reminiscent or suggestive of something. Obviously red, because the word began with red, so it must have picked up on that. Sempiternal, everlasting and eternal. Some similar themes again, but this looked different enough from the completely default baseline. Susurrus, whispering or rustling. Again, some very weird fantasy creatures. We've seen one or a few characters before already, I think. Thaumaturgic, relating to the working of miracles. More fantasy, skulls and horns it would seem. So there we go. I think I got a really clear picture already, based on these, what the default style looks like. But there were some very cool-looking things along the way. Mostly it's weird, alien-like fashion, or kind of fantasy or older eras fashion that we see when Midjourney 8.1 doesn't really know what to do with the prompt. I saw a lot of weird-looking characters, a lot of horns and skulls. To be honest, it tends to look a lot like fantasy, or maybe even a bit too occult. I wonder what the inspiration for the aesthetics has been this time around. Do we all just have a fascination towards these kinds of themes? Or why is 8.1 looking like this? The colours are there, but they are definitely more on the muted side. Gone are the days of just teal and orange. I do like the default style. I might try and do a style test on the raw style next, Or, if you have any other ideas you would like me to take a look at, then feel free to let me know in the comments. I thank you so much for watching my experiments, and let's continue prompting.